Have you ever wondered what it really feels like in the days or weeks before a heart attack? Most people imagine a heart attack as a sudden violent event, a person clutching their chest, collapsing without warning. But what if I told you the heart rarely fails in silence? For millions of older adults across America, the real story begins much earlier, with small whispers from the body that are far too easy to ignore. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, feeling just a little more tired than usual, maybe brushing it off as a poor night's sleep. A few days pass, and you notice you get winded, just walking to the kitchen or climbing the stairs. Maybe there's a strange heaviness in your chest, but you convince yourself it's nothing, just indigestion or nerves. These subtle symptoms often creep in quietly, gradually, over days or even weeks. Sadly, too many people dismiss these warning signs as a normal part of getting older, never realizing their heart is sending desperate signals for help. In this video, we'll reveal why heart attacks almost never come out of nowhere, and how learning to recognize the quiet early signs could save your life or the life of someone you love. It's easy to overlook a sense of tiredness or a strange ache as just another part of growing older. But what if these small signals are your body's way of sending you an urgent warning? Every year, countless families are left devastated by heart attacks that could have been prevented if only the early signs had been recognized and taken seriously. The reality is your heart is one of the most resilient and hardworking organs in your body, beating more than 100,000 times every single day without asking for anything in return. Yet when something begins to go wrong, it doesn't shout. It whispers, sometimes through mild symptoms that can be easily ignored. That's why paying close attention to these subtle changes isn't just about protecting your health. It's about honoring the life you've built, the people who love you, and the precious moments still ahead. Recognizing these early warnings can mean the difference between life and loss, hope and heartbreak. Don't let a silent signal from your heart go unnoticed. The knowledge you gain today could empower you or someone you care about to take action before it's too late. That's why, as we explore these warning signs together, I urge you to listen, not only with your mind, but with your heart, both for yourself and for the people you care about. Maybe you felt a little more tired lately, or your spouse has started to avoid the stairs, saying it's just age catching up. Perhaps your parent seems a bit out of breath after the simplest tasks, or a friend has mentioned an odd nagging pain they can't explain. It's easy to brush off these changes, to reassure each other that it's probably nothing, but deep down you might sense that something just isn't right. Today I encourage you to be that voice of awareness for yourself and those you love. Pay attention to what your body is trying to say, even if it's just a whisper. Don't be afraid to start a conversation or encourage a loved one to speak to their doctor if something feels off. The heart is precious and vulnerable, and sometimes it only gets one chance to ask for help. Recognizing the signs, trusting your instincts, and acting early could be the difference between a life changed forever and a life saved. Before we move forward, I want to stress just how vital it is that you stay with me through every part of this message. The information we're about to share could truly be life-changing, not just for you, but for the people you cherish most. Too often, important warnings are ignored because we think we already know what a heart attack looks like, or we assume the signs will be obvious and dramatic. In reality, the body is much more subtle, and the earliest clues can slip by if we're not paying close attention. This isn't just another video. This is a conversation that could make all the difference in a moment of crisis. Every detail, every symptom, every insight could be the one thing that helps you recognize danger before it's too late. Imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing you're prepared not only for yourself, but also able to protect your spouse, your parent, your best friend, or anyone else you love. Watching all the way to the end isn't just about gathering facts. It's about giving yourself and those you care for the very best chance at a longer, healthier life. So let's walk through these warning signs together one by one and make sure no signal from your heart or the heart of someone you love ever goes unnoticed. One of the earliest and most overlooked warning signs of a heart in trouble is the sensation of becoming short of breath during even the simplest activities. Maybe you find yourself pausing at the top of the stairs, trying to catch your breath after making the bed, or feeling winded just walking across the living room. It's natural to chalk it up to getting older or not being in perfect shape. But the truth is, breathlessness that appears suddenly or becomes more noticeable without a clear reason is never something to ignore. Our hearts are responsible for delivering oxygen-rich blood to every cell in our bodies, and when the heart begins to struggle, whether from blocked arteries, weakened muscle, or other silent issues, it can no longer keep up with even gentle demands. This isn't just about feeling a little tired. It's the body's way of saying, I'm not getting the oxygen I need. Sometimes this shortness of breath occurs while you're resting, or even wakes you up at night, leaving you feeling anxious or unsettled. It's important to know that these subtle changes can be your heart's earliest cries for help, and dismissing them as normal aging could mean missing the chance to act before a crisis strikes. If you or someone you love notices this new or worsening breathlessness, especially if it doesn't improve or comes on, suddenly don't ignore it. This could be your heart's quiet plea for attention and care, and listening could make all the difference. Another silent but serious warning your heart may send is a profound sense of fatigue that lingers even when you haven't done anything particularly strenuous. Maybe you wake up in the morning already feeling drained, or find yourself struggling to muster the energy for simple everyday tasks like preparing breakfast or walking to the mailbox. This isn't the kind of tiredness that follows a busy day or a late night. It's a deep, unshakable exhaustion that seems to settle into your bones, refusing to lift no matter how much you rest. Too often, people dismiss this feeling as just another part of aging, or they attribute it to stress, poor sleep, or getting older. But when the heart can't pump enough blood to deliver vital oxygen and nutrients to the body's muscles and brain, the result is a whole-body fatigue that no amount of sleep can erase. Sometimes this overwhelming tiredness appears weeks before a heart attack, and it is especially common among older adults and women. If you notice your energy has dropped off sharply, or that simple chores suddenly feel like mountains to climb, don't ignore these changes. They could be your body's way of asking for help long before more dramatic symptoms arrive. Listening to this warning and seeking medical advice may be the step that saves your life or the life of someone you love. When most people think of a heart attack, they picture someone doubled over in agony, clutching their chest in unmistakable pain. But in reality, the signs can be much more subtle, so subtle, in fact, that many people don't recognize them until it's too late. Chest discomfort is one of these easily overlooked signals. You might notice a vague tightness or heaviness in the center of your chest, a sensation of pressure that feels more like you're wearing a heavy vest than experiencing sharp pain. Sometimes it comes across as a burning or even a mild ache, almost like indigestion or heartburn, and it may come and go or become worse when you're moving around or feeling stressed. What makes this symptom especially tricky is that it doesn't always scream for your attention. It whispers, and those whispers can be easy to ignore, especially if you chalk them up to something you ate, anxiety, or just getting older. For many older adults, particularly, women's chest discomfort may never become the classic pain depicted in movies, but that doesn't mean it's any less serious. If you feel a strange, persistent sensation in your chest, or if the discomfort is paired with other symptoms like fatigue or shortness of breath, take it seriously. This could be your heart's warning that something is wrong, and waiting for dramatic pain could mean missing your only chance to act in time. Listen to your body and don't dismiss the whispers. They may be the very signs that keep you safe. Not all heart warnings announce themselves with pain in the chest. In fact, one of the most quietly dangerous signs is discomfort or pain that appears in places you might never expect: the left arm, upper back, jaw, or neck. Sometimes the feeling is a dull ache, a heaviness, or even a burning sensation that seems to radiate outward or linger stubbornly without explanation. It may come and go, or it might show up only with certain movements or at random times of day, leaving you wondering if you simply slept in an odd position or strained a muscle. These subtle pains are especially common in women and older adults, and are often written off as unrelated to the heart, dismissed as a sore joint or a pulled muscle. But the reason these symptoms matter so much is because of how the nerves in our body communicate with the brain. When the heart is struggling to get enough oxygen, the discomfort doesn't always stay in the chest. It can travel along nerve pathways and show up somewhere completely different. Too many people ignore a new soreness in the back or jaw, thinking it's nothing, but when these sensations are unusual, persistent, or accompanied by other signs like fatigue or shortness of breath, they should never be taken lightly. These are your body's subtle ways of telling you that something serious could be happening deep within, and your willingness to listen and seek help could be the key to avoiding a tragedy. Never underestimate what your body's trying to say, especially when the message is so easy to overlook. One of the most alarming and yet most frequently dismissed early warning signs of an impending heart attack is a sudden spell of dizziness, nausea, or cold sweats that seems to come out of nowhere. Imagine standing in your kitchen or sitting at your desk when without warning you begin to feel lightheaded, your stomach churns or beads of sweat break out across your skin, even though the room is cool. Perhaps you chalk it up to skipping a meal, a moment of stress, or just a passing bug. But when your heart struggles to pump enough blood, it's not just your chest that feels the effect. Your brain and digestive system quickly notice the drop in oxygen and nutrients leading to these unsettling symptoms. For many older adults, this can be the final whisper from the body before a heart attack strikes. It's so easy to ignore, especially when the feeling fades after a few minutes. But these episodes are your heart's way of asking for help before a true emergency unfolds. When these sensations happen along with other warning signs like chest discomfort, unusual fatigue, or pain in the back, neck, or arm, the risk grows even greater. Don't let fear or uncertainty convince you to brush off these signals. Acting quickly, reaching out for help, calling your doctor, or even dialing 911 can be the life-saving difference that gives your heart another chance. Trust what your body tells you and never ignore a symptom just because it's subtle or easy to explain away. It's human nature to hope that a strange feeling will just go away, to tell ourselves it's nothing and wait for it to pass. But when it comes to your heart, this kind of wishful thinking can be dangerously misleading. The body rarely shouts at us, it prefers to whisper, sending gentle reminders that something isn't quite right. Ignoring those whispers, especially when they involve the warning signs we've just discussed, can allow a treatable problem to quietly grow into a crisis. Don't let fear, pride, or uncertainty convince you to tough it out or delay seeking help. Time is precious when it comes to heart health, and waiting for symptoms to resolve on their own could mean missing the chance to prevent serious, even life-threatening consequences. Remember that heart disease doesn't play by the rules, and the warning signs are often subtle, different for everyone, and easily confused with other everyday ailments. By staying alert and acting at the first sign of trouble, you're giving yourself the best possible chance to protect your life and the lives of those you love. The cost of ignoring your body's signals can be immense, but the benefit of taking them seriously, even if it turns out to be a false alarm, can be nothing short of life-saving. Don't let hesitation stand between you and your health. When your heart speaks, it deserves your full attention. When you notice any of these warning signs, no matter how mild or brief they may seem, the wisest and most courageous thing you can do is to seek medical attention right away. It can be tempting to downplay your symptoms or to convince yourself that you don't want to make a fuss, but with matters of the heart, there is no such thing as being too cautious. The window of opportunity to prevent lasting damage or even save a life can be astonishingly small. Don't risk waiting for the symptoms to disappear or resolve on their own, and don't try to drive yourself to the hospital if you feel dizzy, weak, or in any way unwell. Instead, call for help, reach out to a loved one, or even call emergency services if the symptoms are intense or persistent. Doctors are there not just to treat emergencies, but to help you understand and respond to warning signs before a crisis strikes. Taking action quickly is not just a sign of strength, it's an act of love toward yourself and your family. Remember, every second matters, and what might feel like an overreaction in the moment could be the very decision that gives you or someone you care about a second chance at life. Your health and your heart are too precious to leave to chance. In the rush of everyday life, it's so easy to ignore the subtle messages our bodies send us. We get used to aches and pains, dismiss changes in energy, and brush aside worries, telling ourselves it's just a part of getting older. But your heart is not just an organ. It is a faithful companion that has carried you through every joy, every sorrow, and every moment in between. When it begins to struggle, it rarely cries out for attention. Instead, it quietly pleads for you to listen. That's why it's so important to honor those small, unusual signs, even when they seem minor or inconsequential. Listening to your body is not about being fearful or overly cautious. It's about giving yourself the respect, care, and attention you truly deserve. Trusting your instincts, being honest about what you feel, and choosing to act, these are acts of courage that can make all the difference, not just for your own health, but for the lives of the people who love you. Never underestimate the value of tuning in to those gentle whispers of change. It's the simplest, most loving way to protect your heart and to keep sharing precious moments with those who matter most. One of the most important lessons we can take from these stories is that good health begins with self-awareness and the courage to listen to our own bodies. In a culture that often celebrates pushing through pain and toughing it out, it's easy to ignore little changes, to believe that small symptoms are just an inevitable part of aging. But as we've seen, sometimes the smallest signs can be the first clue that something serious is happening beneath the surface. The real wisdom is in recognizing that being proactive about our health, asking questions, seeking help, and never being ashamed to speak up about concerns is not a sign of weakness, but of strength and self-respect. For those of us living in the fast-paced world of today, where family and work can so easily distract us from our own needs, taking time to check in with ourselves and to care for our hearts is a gift not only to ourselves, but also to our loved ones. Remember, every life is precious and no concern is ever too small when it comes to protecting the year's memories and connections that truly matter. By paying attention and responding to what our bodies are telling us, we give ourselves the best chance at living a fuller, healthier, and more joyful life.